In this video, we are going to explore rubrics and specifically how we can use a single point rubric as a tool to start ungrading. Before we get into single point rubrics though, it's worth us taking a minute to look at other types of traditional rubrics so that we can see how a single point rubric is different. There are essentially two main types. The first is a holistic rubric. So this breaks down an assignment into general levels at which a student can perform, assigning an overall grade for each level. The other type is an analytic rubric, and this would break each of those general levels down even further to include multiple categories, each with its own scale of success. So both of these formats can work well in various contexts. However, they tie the rubric really heavily to grades. And so the focus then is on the grades and not on the feedback around successes and improvements. So this is where a single point rubric can help. Now, like holistic and analytic rubrics, a single point rubric breaks the aspects of an assignment down into categories, clarifying to students what kinds of things you expect of them in their work. Unlike those rubrics, though, the single point rubric includes only guidance on and descriptions of successful work without listing a grade. So looking at this specific example of a single point rubric, in the center, we have the criteria for proficient performance, and this is broken down into different categories. And then on the right, we have space that's provided for notes on how the work exceeds expectations. And on the left, we have space that's provided for notes on what needs improvements. Now notice there are no grades here, only space for feedback. So you might be asking yourself, why would I want to choose a single point rubric over one of the other traditional types? First off, it provides space to reflect on both the strengths and weaknesses in student work. So each category invites teachers to meaningfully share with students what they did really well and where they might want to consider making some adjustments. It also doesn't place boundaries on student performance. The single point rubric doesn't try to cover all the aspects of a project that could go well or poorly. Instead, it gives guidance and allows students to approach the project in creative and unique ways. And so it's steering your students away from relying too much on teacher direction and encouraging them to create their own ideas. It also works against students' tendencies to rank themselves and to compare themselves to or compete with one another. Each student receives their own unique feedback that's specific to them and their work, and that can't be easily quantified. Furthermore, it helps students take the attention off the grade. So the design of the rubric really emphasizes that descriptive, individualized feedback over the grade. And so instead of focusing on teachers' instructions in order to aim for a particular grade, students can really immerse themselves in the experience of the assignment. It also creates more flexibility without sacrificing clarity. So students are still given clear expectations, but there's much more room to account for a student taking a project in a direction than a holistic or analytic rubric wouldn't be able to account for. And finally, the last reason, and probably the best one, is it is simple. So a single point rubric has much less text than other rubric styles. So the odds that our students will actually read the whole rubric, reflect on the given feedback, and remember both are much higher. So we invite you to go give it a try.